It's my dream. It's my mustache dream. Can you just at least make me a professional in that dream?
I mean, you are a professional. You're a low-level professional, but you're a professional.
You know what, Brad?
Are you getting paid? Yes. Calm yourself.
You look like a professional kitty diddler right now.
You're right, dude. You know I look good with this stash.
You do look good with a mustache.
Good is very subjective.
Good, I mean, as good as one could with a mustache.
Yes.
Like a cop.
You do look like a cop.
Like a fucking detective.
You know what we need to do? Do you have aviators?
What's funny for my class today, we had we get into this like discussion, and he was like, all right, like everyone that has capability for video, like I want to see your reaction to this like trailer, like blah blah. And I've been like silencing my video for all my classes since I've had my stash. And I seriously I open up my video and I see like 3 people just like bounce back, like, whoa. And my teacher's like, that's a stash you got going on there, JT. And I'm like, yeah, thanks for calling me out. I'm bored.
How's the hair looking?
Oh, it's a nightmare, dude.
Oh, it's not that bad.
It's a goddamn nightmare, dude.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, but Jake, my boy Jake, he just fucking found out his boy's doing cuts out of his garage because his barbershop's closed down. So I'm gonna go there tomorrow and get me a high dollar fucking cut.
I mean, you've been living high risk this entire quarantine life, so you might as well keep it going.
What do you, dude? Ready? Chill out.
High risk.
There's more cases up in Shasta County than there are in Butte.
It's facts.
Yeah, for the old fuckers, dude.
But that's still more. It doesn't matter if it's for the old fuckers or not.
I'm going over to this fucking 32-year-old man's garage.
I bet you are.
Does
Are
he
you gonna
have
meet
candy?
a bunch of 14-year-old boys there?
What?
Does he have candy?
Pizzagate.
Well, the way
yeah.
you said it with the stash and everything just sounded real creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when you're 30, 32 doesn't seem so creepy of an age, Brad.
Yeah, but you're rocking a stash that says, I like to touch little boys.
No, it doesn't. It says, keep talking to me that way. I'm going to use my badge to beat the fuck out of you, and no one's going to believe you because you're a minority, Derek.
All right.
All right.
Let's just say, let's just end the discussion with this. Is it fair to say you look half cop? Okay, no. A third cop, a third...
I look like the Little League coach that doesn't have a son on the team.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
And there's extra batting practice after the games, okay?
Special players.
No, it's catching.
Yeah, the kids are catching. The coach is batting.
Yeah.
Jordan?
Yeah, throw him through, rotating him.
Take those hips and rotate.
Oh my god. All right, I'm gonna take a
So
leak.
let's do the third of it.
Then let's do this. Yeah, let me pee real quick and we'll roll. Dude, I don't know what's going on with my bladder today. Ask Derek. I had to pee the entire time we hung out. It's old man shit.
Old man syndrome, dude.
It sucks, dude. It's hitting me hard lately. It really, really sucks, boys.
I can see it.
Yeah, you're 5 years away, John.
I'm just saying, you have a man bun on right now?
Okay, I don't. I'm gonna put my hat back on.
Ew, dude. Ew.
And I'm
The
not proud
laughing
of
in the
it.
background is great.
You've been making fun of my stash, and you have that upon your head?
That's fair.
That
Honestly,
is disgusting,
it's
dude.
honestly-
Who are you, Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai? Get the fuck out of here, dude.
And his homie jerking each other off on IG all fucking week.
What?
So you haven't seen him and his homie jerking each other off on IG all week?
Oh, Jordan's jealous, dude. He didn't know Jerome had another black friend. Dude.
Black. I don't know if my man's black.
He's black.
That's spies. We gotta check who his daddy is.
I think he's blacker than Jerome.
Yeah, his dad's black as fuck, and his mom's half black, half Native American.
Oh, okay, so it looked like some shit in the pot for sure.
Yeah, no, he's got some shit in the pot.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's got shit in the pot. Just, Jerome just happens to have a little bit more.
I'm 99% shit in the pot. I'll be right back.
Oh, gosh. All right.
Oh man.
Well, that went quiet real quick.
Yeah. You just do a bump live on the pod?
Dude,
What?
Me? No, I was just me. That wasn't no.
I was off the screen, so I was like, what?
I mean, I would.
Yeah, I heard
Oh,
that.
that.
We're not technically live right now. We're just being recorded. It's like the government right now. We're not live, but we're being recorded.
True indeed. Oh, man. My thumb hurts. Dave. My thumb hurts. Oh, I'm sorry. Lay it down. Yeah.
Who the hell is she?
All right. Everyone's got a chance to look at the rundown.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're good with what's on there.
I mean, it'll do.
Would you like to add anything, Brad?
I wish there was more stuff to add.
And that pretty healthy for the state that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
so
That's
that's
what it's like. I would love to add more, but there's nothing to add.
I mean, there's everything. I mean, we're not even talking about half of this anyway.
Yeah, true. Very, very true.
Yeah, we tend to abandon the the rundown from time to time. I'm trying to see if I can get the sound real quick. Hold on, let me sign into my Instagram and not the group Instagram.
Ugh.
All right. Hey, love, do you know how I get to my archived stuff when I am on the Lappy?
Settings. Go away from that. Go to.
Oh, saved. Right there.
Are you sure?
That's it. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, where's the Mav Carter thing? Fuck.
Are you sure that's what you want?
Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I just can't find. Alright, give me a second, guys. I wanted to get the sound of that Draymond Green.
Yep.
So bitter.
Do you guys know what you saw the sound on? I thought it was on our page on the Uninterrupted.
I thought it was uninterrupted.
I think on Instagram. I think I found mine on the score, maybe.
I'm pretty sure it was on Uninterrupted's page. Oh yeah, here it is. I got it. Okay, cool. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns before we get going?
Nah.
Cool. Oh, Derek, did I ever send you Monday's show?
You did not know.
Okay, I'll send that over to you tonight with this, and I'll cut out the commercials.
Word.
All right, let's do it.
We talking about practice. Not a game. Not a game. Not a game. We talking about practice. It's easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. I mean, how silly is that, man? We talking about practice. We talking about practice, man.
Yeah. We are talking about practice. Another quarantine tour pod. Jimmy Andrew Gilbert alongside me from Los Angeles, California right now. Your boy, Derek Isumaki.
Yo, what's good, party people?
We got DJ Extraordinaire back in the building. DJ J Pounds, a.k.a. Jordan Booth. What's giddy?
What's up, y'all? Back like I never left.
Good to have you back, my friend. We got Sonny Slim, a.k.a. John Lukin, right now.
Hey, kids, how we doing?
Oh, God. That's not cool to say with that mustache, bro. That's not okay to say when you have that mustache. And, of course, the game killer himself, Statman Brad.
Yeah.
All right, before we actually got a decent amount of sports to actually talk about, which is cool. We are a sports show with no sports going on, and we are doing our best, but we got a bunch of stuff to get into. Before we get into that, I think this is day 33 of quarantine for myself. How's everyone doing? Everyone's doing okay?
I have a mustache, Jero. How do you think I'm fucking doing?
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, you act like you've never had one before.
I know. Actually, the answer to that question is I'm doing great, Jero.
I'm pretty sure that's fine right now.
So when you have a mustache, should we be concerned in the future?
No, and I don't, Brad. That's what that was signifying.
I got skinny, and I got fat, and I got skinny again. So
There you go.
Yeah.
You're going through all life changes right now.
yeah, for real. I'm going through the ladder right now.
I am just tired of having to wear a mask wherever I go.
Yeah.
That's really what's eating me right up. It's like I always forget to rock it. I'm like, oh, I should have got to have a mask on. Oh, I got to put it on, right? And it's just like, I'm not going to be one of those people that has a mask on 24/7, not necessary. And it's tedious enough to like remember to put it on because I'm not used to having a mask on.
All right, perfect. That's a great segue into what I want to talk about. I already talked to you about this earlier, Derek, so let's go ahead and get it real quick.
You know what really grinds my gears?
When people are wearing masks and they're in a car solo, who are you protecting yourself from? What are you being protected from? You're in your car solo. You're not helping anyone. I just want to mention that.
It is rather unseemly when I see it happens. It's all over the place. All you do is look left and right. Everyone's got a mask on in their car. It's like, why? What do you? They're not comfortable. They're not comfortable in any way, shape, or form. I don't want them on more than I have to have them on.
Yeah, agreed. And before we start the show, speaking of people in their cars and things they do to annoy me, let's get it one more time.
You know what really grinds my gears?
People with 13.1 stickers on their car. Are you kidding me?
Hey, what does that even mean?
You completed
Half a marathon.
That's what that means?
Yes.
Yeah, 26.2 is a marathon.
That's so douchebaggish.
Yes. That's like that's the equivalent. That is the equivalent of having a license plate holder that says you are an alumni to your community college. Like, okay, you made it halfway. Congratulations.
That's like me being like, hey guys, I read half a book today and just put it down. Never gonna touch it again.
It's so dumb.
It was a really tough half, though.
I gotta say, my favorite one making fun of that is a 0.3, and then under it says, "I just gave up."
Yeah, that's better. That's
at least it's funny.
Yeah,
half a marathon. That's hilarious.
13.1
aren't funny. Heads up.
What?
What did you say?
I said bumper stickers aren't funny. Heads up. No matter how funny
no
matter how funny you think they are, the second you stick it to your car, you're instantly not funny.
There was one. I did see a funny one on my buddy's Vespa, his little scooter, and it said, "People don't kill people. People with mustaches kill people." So there you go, John. You're a serial killer.
Why are you talking to me like that, dude?
My bad. I should probably watch my mouth. My bad.
To kill you in a continuous fashion.
Did you have something?
I will say the moment I see a bumper sticker on a car, I'm already thinking less of that person. So it's kind of hard for them to kind of step up the game. So it's got to be a very impressive bumper sticker to get out of that zone. And each bumper sticker added is another point deduction on how much I think you are. So,
well, let's get this up. Let's layer this up a little bit. What about like my kid's an honor roll student bumper stickers? Like
even worse.
Then if it gets brought up in conversation about honor roll in middle school, then yeah, go ahead and be like, yeah, my kid's an honor roll student. You don't need to blast that. It's a bit aggressive. People that put bumper stickers on tell me one thing: they don't think long term.
That's fair.
That's the funniest thing you've ever said.
It's truth right there, man.
It is truth. Like either you don't think you're gonna have that car for very long, or you don't think you're not gonna think Biden in 2020 and 2045 when you have that car is gonna be sick, right? Like
you have people owning cars for 25 years.
What?
You have people owning their cars for 25 years?
I mean,
that happens quite often. I mean,
25-year-old cars on the market.
That's the dream right there. Get a car, put the first mile on it and the last mile on it. That's player shit.
Jarrell, what year is the car you drive?
05, baby.
Oh, it is? All right.
Oh, damn. That's newer than I thought, too, Jarrell.
I mean, that's still 15 years, though. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to ride that thing. Okay, you're right. If I could get another 10 years out of it, I'm getting another 10 years out of it.
That's a flex.
No
Big time.
doubt.
Yeah.
Sports?
I think, yeah. Got to keep it going, baby. Got to roll on, baby. Keep it rolling.
Until the wheels fall off. Gronk is in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady now.
I swear to God, they planned this all out just to give us something to talk about right now.
Yeah.
They're like,
Super Bowl.
ESPN was like, yo, Tom, we got this big thing coming around. It's going to knock all the sports out. We need you to prolong this whole endeavor of you going to Tampa Bay and bringing Gronk with you. Save the Gronk stuff. We need the Gronk stuff midway through. And it's like, all right, now we'll drop it in here. Gronk's going to Tampa Bay.
Well, I think Gronk was on that kind of same kind of secretive tip that Tom Brady was, where he really had discourse with Belichick and just the coaching staff. I mean, he was on a Sunday when he would fill in on those Sunday morning football shows. He had an excerpt that he talked about getting traded to the Lions. Mm-hmm. And that was a couple years ago. He got a phone call from the front office or whatever saying, we're about to trade you to the Lions. And he said, well, I'm retiring, so how can you trade me if I'm retiring? Like, you can't do that. And they never traded him. Trade never went through, and he stayed on the Patriots. So it's like he's already had this discourse with not wanting to play. I feel like that's an easy team up. I mean, they both have set records with each other. So, like, I mean, why wouldn't you want to go to a new place with ideally the person that you want? It's not like a center or a cornerback that you want to play with. It's someone you're throwing the ball to or someone throwing you the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, you have arguably the greatest quarterback of all time teaming back up with arguably the most dominant tight end of all time, or at least of his era. But Gronk is skinny now. You guys seen him?
Yeah, I
have not. No, I will say that.
He's not getting paid millions to block, though. I mean, he was himself, respected as one of the best tight ends in NFL history because of his ability to catch on the outside. Tight ends usually don't catch.
Block. I mean,
he was a great blocker in his right. I'm not discounting that, but I'm just saying, even if he came back and he was never a great blocker, if he gets 60 catches this year, that's a win. 60 catches and 8 touchdowns.
I mean, let's not forget too. I mean, the Buccaneers drafted a couple years ago O.J. Howard from Alabama, one of the best tight ends.
Shout out O.J., best first name ever.
So
O.J. hasn't done anything though. He's done jack shit.
No, he hasn't done anything.
Got there, so he's been pretty lackluster.
O.J. sent him for over 2,000 yards.
He hasn't had a great offensive scheme until Bruce Arians has come in. He hasn't had a really great quarterback in help me out here in Winston.
I'm just saying, if you can't get catches with Winston, who are you going to get catches with? Because all Winston done is throw the ball down the field the entire time. So
but Brady doesn't throw the ball down the field. Brady throws 10-yard ins, slants. When he's throwing to Mike Evans, Godwin, all these players, and even Gronk. You don't think Gronk is going to take some players from Mike Evans or even from O.J. Howard? Like O.J. Howard's going to see action for sure this year.
O.J. Howard might get traded.
That would be hilarious.
O.J. Howard might get traded.
I mean, that could be a possibility as well. He's got trade power.
Yeah.
I will say, though, what the Patriots were able to do to be able to get out of Gronkowski is amazing. The dude was a retired, at-home, skinny as hell, quote-unquote, tight end at this point in time, and they flipped him for a 4th-round pick. Calais Campbell from the Jags got traded for a 5th-round pick. What? Like, how is that possible? How are the Patriots still winning at this better than everyone else? It makes no sense to me. I mean, that just shows how stupid the Jacksonville is. But
I mean, are they winning though? I mean, look at let's realistically look at the Patriots this year. Like, they're not going to win that division. I don't think. Like,
well, Gronk wasn't coming to that team anyway, so it's not like they had Gronk and lost him. They never had him. They were getting so they might as well get a 4th-round pick. They got a 4th-round pick for him.
But for Gronk to come back into the league, he still had contract under the New England Patriots, so they had to trade him. Like, there was, you know what I mean? There was no way around it for him in that case. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he could come in.
If he wasn't able to go to the, if he was going to be with the Pats, he wouldn't have come back. So the Pats did never. Yeah, sure, they had their contract, but they never had him. He wasn't going to come back to the Pats.
Yeah, he wasn't playing for the Pats regardless. Brad, will you look it up? I thought it was a 4th and a 6th and a future 6. Is that correct? Or
it was just a 4th, but I'll check to make sure that there wasn't any changes.
Okay.
The Buccaneers gave up a 7th or a 6th, I think, as well.
Yeah, I thought they gave up a 4th
the
and a
Bucs
6th.
got the 7th.
Oh, so they gave him a 4th and a 7th?
Oh, so the Bucs gave their 4th.
So the Bucs got Gronkowski and a 7th, and
Gotcha.
The
Patriots got a 4th.
That's a pretty fair trade.
Yeah, I think it's a solid
for
trade.
someone who wasn't going to play for you. Yeah, you flipped a
You
4th-round pick. That's not a bad deal, right
Belichick
there.
hasn't had a stellar run here recently with draft picks, though. So we'll see how that goes because they really have to rebuild that team. They've lost their identity, losing Tom Brady. So we'll see. I think that's going to be the most interesting storyline this year is how are the Patriots going to fare in this new era with Tom Brady out of there. Who do you think has more to prove this year, though? Do you think the Pats or do you think the Broncos with Tom Brady now?
Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers.
Bucks. Jordan?
Definitely the Patriots. I mean, even with Tom Brady, it sounds good. It's like they got Mike Evans, you know what I'm saying, Chris Godwin. They got Ndamukong Suh on defense. They seem like they have pieces, but I mean, until I see it, I'm not really so much of a believer. The Patriots have been consistent, so I'm going to go with them.
Brad?
Yeah, definitely the Buccaneers. I mean, with the depletion of the Patriots, you can expect them to do well and possibly skate by, maybe win their division, but it's so up in the air right now. The Bucs are expected to make the playoffs now and expected to get close to winning their division. I mean, they're still in a tough division with the Saints and the Falcons. I mean, they kind of weren't that great in the beginning, but they had a good end to it.
My Panthers are there too, bro. Don't forget about them, okay?
Again, I wasn't done yet, but yes, and the Panthers as well with Bridgewater going over that way. But so yes, they have a tough division still to make it through, but they're expected to make the playoffs now with this Gronkowski and the Brady signing. Brady brings winning, and with Gronkowski, that just brings even more winning and experience with a receiver that he's going to have. So,
well, let's stay on quarterbacks for a minute. Jameis isn't signed still, and neither is Cam. We have the NFL draft tomorrow, and that usually those remaining free agents usually get figured out shortly thereafter the draft. Once teams once teams get a little more settled, those guys are sure to have a landing spot somewhere. Derek, where do you see Cam landing, or where would you like to see him land? Let's go there. Where would you guys like to see him? I'll start with you, Derek.
I would still like to see him go to New England. I think that would be a really interesting fit, having Cam Newton there with Belichick at the helm, see what he can craft. I think the Chargers are also an interesting spot for him as well. They're a team that have a lot of weapons around them. And the guy is I still like Cam Newton. I still think he's got potential to win in him. He's still got something left in the tank, and I would like to see him go on a team that can find a way to actually utilize him. I don't want him to drift away and absolutely be nothing. You know, he deserves more than that.
I think the Patriots is an interesting fit for a couple of reasons. It would be interesting to see him under a Belichick offense. However, those outfits and his nationality, I'm curious how that's going to play in Boston, because having Tom Brady for all those years in Boston and then going to an eccentric guy like Cam Newton, who, again, is black, is going to be...
That is integration at its finest, though. Like, that is fucking bridging the gap. Like, all right, we had Mr.
I'm pretty sure as well too that the Patriots have never had an African American quarterback.
They've
I
had.
think that might be the last team.
They have had. They are one of, I believe, 2 teams that have only had a black quarterback start a single game, and I think the Giants are the other ones. Jacoby Brissett started a game when Jimmy Grapps got hurt. And I'm pretty sure the other team is the Giants. They've only had one African American start at quarterback. But anyway, I digress. I just think that would be, personally, I think that would be a weird fit. Jordan, where would you like to see Cam end up?
New England.
Yeah?
New England, I think that's like the perfect, it's not necessarily a perfect fit, but it's like Cam has the ability, or at least from what we've seen from him before, to, ad-lib a little bit and maybe give them a little bit of spice and, energy that they didn't have before, especially with the lack of talent on the outside. They have good running backs, maybe Cam Newton with a little read option, just something to flare it up. Also, I like the Broncos, just the way they play as far as play action, his movement ability. They don't really throw the ball down the field, which Cam isn't accurate enough or really good at throwing the ball down the field. I feel like that scheme might be perfect for him, especially with the way they run the ball as a team.
Does anyone have someone besides New England?
Go ahead.
What I want to see is just the discourse that's going on with the Browns organization right now. I mean, a couple of years ago, they signed Baker Mayfield on the first pick of the draft. They got Odell. They have Jarvis Landry. They have all these weapons around them. But now these reports are coming out that Odell isn't meshing well with Mayfield and all these kind of things. I feel like Mayfield, still has some trade power to sign a player like Cam Newton to the Browns and then trade and try to get, some picks out of Mayfield. I think you would be really beneficial in a Browns organization doing that, just because you have Cam Newton, who's, it's been 5 years, but has been in MVP caliber of the league. I mean, has, battled injuries this year, but is a veteran, can mesh with those kind of identities, those kind of eccentric personalities on that team, and kind of get people to play with, kind of under the same umbrella. It's a long shot, but I think that's a really, really good fit for Cam.
What about you, Brad?
There's 3 openings I see. It's the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Chargers. And I think going to the West might be his best option right now, just because the only competition there is the Chiefs. And if he could actually jump on with the Broncos or the Chargers, he might be able to build it up and work with the team there and try and make it through that AFC West division.
I would love to see 2 teams sign him. I would love to see the Niners sign him because Jimmy Garoppolo threw an interception in the Super Bowl with his eyes closed. He's not the guy. He's just not the guy.
That's all you need to know one time. You lost faith in me, brother. You're out.
They never had faith in Jimmy to begin with, but I digress. Go ahead, Jero.
Do I need to repeat? He threw an interception with his eyes closed in the biggest game on the biggest stage. I don't need to see anything else. I know he had X amount of... I don't even know how many game-winning drives he's had in his career. He's had several.
He's pretty clutch.
He's been pretty clutch. He wasn't when it mattered the most. He threw an interception with his eyes closed. That's all I need to see.
Y'all were up 11. It wasn't his fault.
He threw an interception with his eyes closed, Jordan. Okay? I've seen enough. That's all I needed to see.
He had Emmanuel Sanders for a touchdown that would have sealed it, and he overthrew him. So, yeah, there's 2 things right
by
there.
a mile. The game was over if he connects there. So, yeah, I'm over him. So that's a biased thing, and I would love to see them bring Cam Newton in on a 1-year deal, have him behind Jimmy Grapps on the depth chart to begin the season, and then see if he can't earn his way into a starting role. I'd also love to see him go on a 1-year deal to Pittsburgh. That's a very stable franchise. They have a quarterback who is a veteran in the game, who has some injury concerns, who missed a lot of last season, letting Mason Rudolph get some minutes. And I think that going to a stable franchise like Pittsburgh that doesn't have a lot of turnover. They've had 3 coaches in the last 40 years, something like that.
I think longer than that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of turnover.
They've had 3 coaches in their history of franchise.
Something crazy like that. And I think going to a team where he doesn't have to be the guy. In Carolina, everything was predicated around him. And I think going to a team where everything isn't built around him, he is just a part of the team, would be a good look, and give him a chance to rehab a bit, get himself healthy, and again, playing behind Ben Roethlisberger, good chance you're going to get a couple starts in the season. So
very, very good chance.
So I think that would
Even
be
better chance of seeing his dick.
All right.
Whoa!
But as a backup, I'd like to see him in Philly too, because Carson Wentz also is pretty injury prone.
And another franchise that's been pretty solid over the last 4 years seems to have found some stability in a head coach and GM. So,
and we have successful black quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick.
There you go.
Elite at that time.
So since '69, the Steelers have had 3 coaches. They've had a total of 16 in their history, but in the past umpteen years, since '69,
and you guys name those
50
3
years.
coaches?
That's 51 years.
Chuck
No. I was asking everyone else.
Sorry,
you
my
looking
bad.
at Google.
What, Chuck Noll, Bill Coward, and Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
Yeah. Would you guys have got Chuck Noll?
Yeah.
Yeah,
After somebody said it, yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
Brad, you ruin every game, dude.
I thought you said what are the
Even when you don't know it's a game.
Understand that.
Even when you don't know it's a game, you still kill it, dude.
Let's move on. Let's stay with the NFL for one more topic here, and then move on. The NFL draft is tomorrow night, and they're going to be doing this virtually, obviously because of the pandemic going on, and I don't really want to get into the nitty-gritty of the draft so much as I just am rooting for utter chaos. And I'm wondering if anyone else feels the same and is hoping that it's just an absolute shit show.
I mean, I usually hate the draft. I think the draft is a waste of time. Never watched it before. This year, I'll probably be watching it for that reason. I'm watching it like I am a NASCAR event. I want to see wreckage. I want to see hacking to happen. I want to see somebody utterly fail. I want them not to be able to get the pick they wanted to get. I want chaos, like you said, Jiro. I'm right there with you. I want violence to happen, okay? I so desperately want that.
Wow.
I'm with that.
Yeah, it's almost like a fantasy football draft when your internet breaks. You know what I mean? You're frantically trying to text someone. I could just see a GM of the Giants, texting someone and being like, "This is my pick. Just tell him. Just please tell him, please." And then it just doesn't get through.
I mean, on all accounts right now, Dave Gettleman right now is going to have the toughest time trying to figure this whole draft situation out.
Yes.
The guy is stuck in the Stone Ages. The fact that he has access to a computer that's not a typewriter is rather amazing in itself.
But what I mean,
did any of you guys watch
hold on, has there ever been a draft where the time has elapsed? Like,
I'm sure
do we know what happens? Do they just get skipped and it just goes on to the next pick? Or do they just get like what analysts think is the next great? Yeah, is it auto draft?
An auto draft.
Oh yeah, Devontae Freeman. There you go.
You know what? It looks like you guys need a kicker right now. Let's get you a kicker.
Yeah, you guys are empty at kicker. We'll fill that slot for you.
Yeah, it's early in the second.
Did you guys watch the WNBA draft this past week?
Come on, Brad. You know the answer.
Oh yeah, I was all over that one, Brad.
It is the first draft that was held virtually, so I was wondering because there was some chaos in a lot of these players not knowing like 15 seconds prior to them being drafted, and the interviews were just all spotty. So you're going to expect that tomorrow.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, so you will see chaos.
As long as the first round, they do the first round in 20, 25 minutes, I'm good. That's all I care about. First, second round. I may watch it depending on what my availability is for the second round, but first round for sure.
25 minutes for the first round, you're sadly going to be disappointed.
I know, I'm just saying.
That'll probably get you like 4 picks.
That first round's going to last like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they build a show around it. Like, that's why they build it up for this time. It's because it's when like everyone's able to get together and have this NFL draft, and it's a whole event now,
With the virtuality of it, though, it's like it's not going to be a show like they try to make it, Like where people they're like draft the first dude, and he's like everybody's like boo.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna see. I think in virtual now we're gonna see a completely different side of the draft. Before it was we're looking out to the crowd and the crazy fanatics that showed up in the certain town that are waiting for their team to be called, and the kids to walk across the stage and get interviewed by with their parents or whatever it is. Now we're gonna start to see the war rooms. Now we're gonna see what management and GMs go through and just the frantic that goes on in their offices.
So by war room, you mean their basement that they've now converted into an office. That's the war room you're talking about right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, that's really the only reason why I want to tune in. Is just I want to see the NFL mirroring some form of mediocrity, you know? Like, it's not going to be this pristine presentation, which annoys the hell out of me. This is going to be them in the dumps, and that's what I like to see.
Agreed. Yeah. Well put. Anyone else with any thoughts on the draft, or shall we move on?
I'm just hoping one of their kids decides to, like, try and make a pick, and they get the pick instead of their parent, which was supposed to get another pick.
I would love to hear a GM just yell at, like, shut the fuck up right now. Something like that. That, to me, would really get the juices going.
Or a GM arguing with their wife over what they're eating for dinner. Something like that. I want real grimy behind the scenes, like, getting into these people's houses. That's what you didn't do the dishes yet, Karen? Are you kidding me? That's what I want to hear. You know, a tuna melt again? That's what I want to hear. That type of shit. That's what I'm into. That's why I
You might get them from Ohio State, but not from an NFL team, I would imagine.
Yikes, Brad.
Oh, that was dirty, Brad. That was below the belt.
Really punching below the belt. Yikes.
He's not even a Big Ten fan either. That's
Well, it's Ohio State, so go ahead, Brad. I can get that.
I'm a Michigan fan, all right?
Yeah, Michigan's never going to be this far, and Brad can do what he can.
I have multiple teams, right? All just different.
Michigan will never knock us down. So, Brad, you do what you can, brother.
Brad is the Mormon of sports fans. Got multiple teams.
It took me a minute.
I mean, he loves them all the same.
In multiple conferences.
You know, we're talking Mormons right now. Let's go on this little side topic.
Yes.
How is it that BYU, the Mormon school out there, has like the best dancing mascot out there ever? Like, why are their dancer teams better than everyone else's? Like, why is the Mormons doing upstaging the hip hop world with their dancer teams? Makes no sense to me. If you've ever seen that cougar twerk and whatnot, that dude who is behind that costume moves and grooves, man. They do it right with that mascot.
It makes total sense because God's on their side.
That's the thing. They don't really believe in God. They're Mormons. They're weird. They have this whole other, like, God of gods and stuff. Like, it's weird. Mormons aren't normal, okay? I'm just saying. Like, nobody's normal.
Mormon mythology.
They're out there,
Feel free to forward all your complaints to This Is For The Children on Instagram. Those are his words, not ours. So for our Mormon audience out there, feel free to get at Derek.
I had actually growing up in my high school, we had a couple of families that were Mormons, and like they just fit that kind of idea. Like, yeah, you're Mormons. You're all a little weird. They're blonde haired, blue eyes, and none of them drink. So, you know, that.
All right. Well, speaking of hating on people, let's do it.
The player haters ball.
Oh man, hey.
Why you wanna play hate on me?
All right, guys. Player haters ball. One of the things that unifies me and Derek as friends in life is that we like to hate on things. So that's what I'm gonna do. Today's topic: discretion and attention. Discretion. Back in my day, drug dealers had a certain je ne sais quoi about how they went about moving their dope, moving their drugs. Nowadays, drug dealers seem to just be doing it in the open. I saw a drug dealer go down right when we pulled up at the gas station today. It's very obvious. A guy who looked like he was clearly addicted to drugs gets into a nicer car and shortly thereafter gets out and goes on his way on his bike. Saw a similar thing in Chico recently. And like I said, there used to be a certain discretion amongst drug dealers. I kind of miss the days of having to call a burner phone and talk in code. I don't know if you guys ever had to talk in code just to get some weed, but an eighth was a Kobe. If I wanted a whole ounce, it was a Big O, Oscar Robertson. If I wanted a 20, it was a Gary Payton. And if I wanted a quarter, I would talk about betting the over on the first quarter. We had a very complex, well, it wasn't very complex because I just described the whole system in 10 seconds, but we had a slightly more difficult degree of attaining our drugs, even just weed. Nowadays, it's gotten to the level where I'm getting Snapchats from people I barely know that say $100 zips a blue dream, tap in. What? You're advertising that you're a drug dealer on Snapchat? Discretion, y'all. It's important. Attention. Back to social media. I understand that a lot of us in this country struggle with mental health, and I know the damage of isolation and the mental health crisis in this country, I believe, will increase tenfold after this quarantine or during this quarantine, because many people who deal with depression and suffer from depression and anxiety are stuck at home with no outlet except social media. And let me just say that crying out for attention on social media, terrible look. If you're struggling, talk to people, talk to your friends. But crying for attention on social media is just not a good look. And you're most likely going to get ridiculed for it and not get the attention you were so seeking. So when you're seeking attention, I would recommend just seeking it for positive things. Go ahead and flex like everyone else is on social media. Have a fake life like many people do on social media. But telling everyone that you're depressed because you're at home while everyone else is still stuck at home as well isn't really helping your cause, my guys and gals. Discretion and attention. Player haters ball, y'all. That's all I got. Moving on.
All right. That's pretty well thought out.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. You got layers to it, man. There's levels to it.
It was a 2-for-1 deal we got right there.
Yeah, for real. It's a 2-for-1 special right there.
Well, thanks, guys.
That was worth 2 in the bush right there for sure.
I would gamble my 2 in the hand for that right there. I would gamble. I would put that on the show.
I appreciate it. All right, let's move on. Let's jump back into the NBA. Obviously, we talked a lot on Monday about the Jordan documentary. Has everyone seen it now? Jordan, have you had a chance to see it?
Yes, okay. I have.
Obviously, the first 2 episodes were really just setting up the rest of the other 8. So there wasn't a lot in there that people didn't know. Like, if you didn't know Jordan got cut from his varsity team, you probably just aren't that interested in Jordan. And understandable if you're, in your mid to early 20s or younger, that you might not know that. But I found the first 2 episodes still entertaining and interesting. But again, really just kind of setting up the future episodes. What I did find fascinating is they had the director, I think his name's John Weir, I want to say, Michael Weir, I'm pretty sure. Maybe Brad, you could fact check that for me, the director of the new documentary. But he was on the Dan Le Batard show this week, and they asked him, what are some of the things that you wish you could have included? And he had a lot to say, but in particular, the first 2 episodes, he was saying how everyone knew that he got cut from his varsity team, but what people didn't know is from his sophomore to his junior year, that summer, he got invited to a camp, and his parents could only afford a week of the camp, so he went to the basketball camp, and he dominated. He won MVP, and he played so well that the camp reached out to his parents and said, we want to keep him for another week. His parents said, we can't keep him, we can't afford it, so they worked out a deal with Mike Jordan at the time, that if he would be a waiter and serve the other kids food and work in the kitchen, that he could stay and play in the camp for free. So Mike Jordan stayed an extra week serving these kids food and then serving them on the court and won MVP both weeks.
Wow.
And it's little things like that I hope they come out with an extended series and include those types of things, because I think that would be awesome. I want to hear more of that. And I also want to hear more of the dirty MJ stories, because I have people who have interacted with Jordan, and they have some grimy stories, and I would like to hear more of the grimy. I mean,
me being the degenerate that I am, I've just only heard horror stories of Michael Jordan's, prolonged gambling habits, whether it be at the casino or on the golf course, and that's what I want to see. I hope to God that there's a couple episodes purely on just behind the scenes betting. I've heard stories of betting $300,000 on one putt, like just ridiculous amounts. So I just want to see all the kind of interaction that goes on with players and that kind of money, what gets thrown around.
If there's no dead hooker, I'm gonna be really disappointed. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my god.
The dead hooker. Okay. Damn. I'll probably have to block this out on the pod, but I feel comfortable sharing with y'all this story. A close friend of mine went to school at UC Santa Barbara, and she comes from money and is eating at a really nice establishment with some friends. Who does she see there? Michael Jordan. On his way out, again, all allegedly. This is from a friend of mine who I don't think would lie about this, but who knows? On Michael Jordan's way out, he walked up to her and simply said, "Have you ever slept with a black man before?" And she said, "No, I haven't." And then he said, "Tonight may be your lucky night," and handed her his hotel key. I want to hear those stories.
Damn.
I want to hear.
Did she end up dead?
Huh?
Did she end up dead?
No, and she wasn't a hooker, so I'm sorry.
Derek is disappointed.
No.
Not good enough for me. Not good enough story. I don't want to hear it.
So, Jarrell,
Yeah.
the director was Jason Hare.
It was. Oh, Jason.
Yeah,
Okay.
you were correct on that.
I said Jonathan, and then I said Michael, and so I did not have. I had his last name close.
It was Jason, yes.
You weren't
Jonathan,
right on
Jason.
anything.
Yeah, you weren't right on anything. You said where.
I think it is Air. Heir,
said-
right?
No, but you said where with a W.
I said it with an H, but that's whatever. That's neither here nor there. We don't need.
Oh, fair.
I'm just giving you what I found. Do with the information what you want.
Yeah, we don't really need to pick on my mistakes, guys.
Nah, I did like the fact that we were talking about like some of the interior stuff about like him playing golf with Danny Ainge before.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Like there was a couple tidbits that they included, but definitely, I mean, everybody knows. Like I was talking to Bria about this, and she was like, Michael Jordan always looks like he's high. Like Bria is a casual observer, and she knows that Michael Jordan is like kind of a dirtbag. So like, I want to see what kind of levels they can get to. Of course, they won't because it's ESPN, but like I want to see something like that. That's what I want to see.
Well, just going to the golf aspect of it all, would you ever see that type of a thing where you're going into a playoff series and then after one of the games you go and like play golf with the competitor? I mean, I don't hear those stories today.
I mean, if you couldn't hold me, like Danny Ainge obviously can't hold Michael Jordan, so like what's going to play golf with him have to do with Michael Jordan's state of mind? If anything, that fucked Danny Ainge up.
Yeah, but you just
Take his legs out from underneath him.
You need your whole team to stop me, bro. Like I'm not worried about losing to you in this. Like,
and Danny Ainge, in that story, Danny Ainge took some money from Jordan, and Jordan told Danny Ainge's boy when he dropped him off, tell your boy Danny I got something for him, and lit his ass up in game 2. I want to hear more of those stories. I did think they let us behind the curtain. One thing I found interesting is Jason Hare did say on the Dan Le Batard show that Michael Jordan did not object to anything that they put out there. Not one thing did he say, I'm not comfortable. He voiced his opinions on stuff, but he did have final say on some stuff and did not once say, take this out. So
I'm probably not going to hear about any dead hookers then.
I'm guessing not.
Damn it.
I don't think we'll find out anything about Jordan that will land him in jail, which kind of disappointing. But hey, I didn't
say he killed her. I just said a dead hooker was around that's involved in some way. He doesn't have to murder her. Why are you thinking murder? I'm just saying dead. Like ODs are fine. Fell off a cliff. I don't know. Just saying I want a dead hooker.
What is wrong with this guy in larceny?
All right.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So to be clear, Derek wants more dead hookers in The Last Dance. Sounds appropriate because it would be The Last Dance for that dead hooker. Pretty fitting.
And he brought it full circle. It all comes together. I like what you guys are doing tonight. I'm gonna log out before I mess up the show. All right, peace.
KD was on the Uninterrupted. Shouts to Uninterrupted. I appreciate what they do because they've given me a couple paychecks. Talking to Mav Carter this week and was talking about the breakup.
Selfless plug right there.
Flex. Man. Yeah, nice little, hey, don't hurt your arm, man. All right, don't hurt your arm. Praying yourself on the back, okay?
I'll do my best. I want to play a clip here from that podcast. Hold on here.
I never understand why rich or wealthy people that aren't famous chase fame. Because I always say, like, you can have the fame, I'll take the wealth. You know, but some people will trade all of their wealth or all of their riches for fame. And I don't quite understand that. Like, with fame, you can't quite be who you are. Like, you know, there's always a microscope. You always have to think twice about something.
And I realize that's not the clip I'm looking for, so we'll keep it pushing.
I mean, that is.
I will say
that was good. You should have kept that going.
I agree with that 100%. People that want to get their 15 minutes of fame, have it. I don't want nothing to do with that.
I want the wealth on that. I agree.
Do you want me to keep the clip going? We got another minute left.
Until we hit our regular clip?
Yeah, I could do this and then go to the one I wanted.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, is he going to say anything more than what he just said right now?
I have no idea because I haven't heard this before.
Well, you find that clip and let's ad-lib on this a little bit.
All right, perfect.
I feel like nobody truly wants to trade all their, like nobody would trade, if you had $1 million to your name, nobody would trade $1 million to be the most popping person on the planet. Nobody would do that. Would you trade half of it to be the most popping person on the planet? Maybe.
No.
I think I would.
No, I told.
But think about it. Think about it further than what you're thinking about. Thinking about it like all the stuff that like famous people get. You know what I'm saying? Like people who are extremely popular, people that are going to be able to give you something, and just by you wearing it and you're so popping that, like, you know what I'm saying, like you're going to bring light to their brand. Think of that feeling.
Yes,
like
John.
that feeling would be ridiculous.
No doubt. I agree.
That's a high. That's a lifetime high.
John's raising his hand right now.
Go ahead, John.
Talk, yeah. No?
Now you're muted, John. You're muted.
You're muted, John.
Wow, you're
killing it.
Well, I will say, I think having the fame is kind of like an investment. It's like, all right, I'm investing in my future. I'm going to like bank on something that I can build off of that fame right now. That's usually what most people are going for with the fame. It's going to last them for a little bit. But again, I don't know. For me, I'm more of, I'd rather have that wealth. I'd rather have that security. And if nobody knows who I am, I'm okay with that.
I've always said the perfect level of fame is where you could get anywhere for free, be treated very great, but also no one gives a fuck that you're there. And I said that to a group of people, and one of my buddies says, "You bartend in Chico. You've already reached that dream, my dude." I was like, "That's fair. That's fair. I'm already living the dream."
But I want that in LA, though. I want that in LA, you know?
Yeah, I would like that everywhere I go, where I could get in, I have money. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yes. I'm back.
What was your point?
My point is this, gentlemen. If I give up my worth of $1 million for eons of fame, as the person I am, I can turn that fame into more than $1 million. Like I can turn that into a monetary value, like we see in Instagram models, like we see in like Jordan.
Your OnlyFans. Your OnlyFans is not going to go popping off.
But if I can wear someone's brand and then that brand becomes big because I'm seen wearing it and because I'm popular, I'm going to get stake into that brand. Like, I'm going to still make money. Like, I would give up all my money for fame because that fame is, look at Kylie or Kendall Jenner. Like, that person, we can all agree, is probably not the best person on this planet. You know what I mean? Like, she's worth $1 billion. Like,
all because her sister fucked a black guy.
Well, I mean, that's where it starts, and that's
Hold
fame.
on. Her sister fucked a black guy and filmed it.
She didn't do that for money. She did that. Well, I mean, essentially, she did it for money, but she did that for fame that essentially brought her money.
We're talking
more
about
money.
18 years later.
Okay.
Why do I know
that's
not a bad thing. I'm agreeing.
If you were to tell me at 30 years old, to give up $1 million, and when I was 48 years old, I'd have $1 billion, sign me the fuck up, gentlemen.
Well, you have to remember that fame is fleeting, and the fact that you'd actually get that type of fame is not guaranteed. You're guaranteed fame for that moment.
We're being arbitrary now, Brad. I'm saying
I'm being very literal with this.
The question was money or fame.
And I'm just saying that fame is also fleeting. You could either get like guaranteed lifelong fame or fame for just a few years.
Wait,
he doesn't really specify.
Wait, hold on, Brad. How is fame like dwindling? How explain that to me, please?
Well, how many people that actually get famous stay famous? Not many.
You don't need to be famous for long. If I'm famous for 5 years, I can make $10 million out of that.
Well, you hope to God you make $10 million off that.
Yeah, it depends on what you're famous for.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah,
John's
exactly.
probably going to get famous for taking children in the back of his van and having too much fun with them. That's what he's going to get famous for.
All right, let's jump back into this Draymond. Peace. I originally wanted to mention that Draymond talked about KD's contract and the breaking up, I say in air quotes, of the Warriors dynasty. So let's get into that.
Kevin took the 1-year deal on his own. So that was kind of the elephant in the room. And although Steve's approach was like, hey, guys, let's enjoy this year because we don't know what next year brings, you got Kevin contract, you got Clay contract, and I kind of got thrown in that contract thing, although I had another year after that year, which was this year. And so that was kind of the elephant in the room. And although Steve would kind of hit on it of like, let's just enjoy this year for what it is because we don't know what next year holds, it didn't necessarily carry the same weight because what should have happened was Kevin come out and say, hey, man, like, this it. Like, this is it. Like, so let's do this or this isn't it. You know what I'm saying? But you can't just leave the elephant in the room. And because what happened was the question came to us every day. Like, every time we spoke to the media, Clay and myself was asked about our contract. And it was strictly due to Kevin, you know, because while that was going on, Clay was saying, I want to be a Warrior forever. Like, I want to be here. We started this thing. This is where I want to be. I'm saying, I want to be here for my career. We started this. We built this. I want to finish my career here with the guys I started it with. And then you kind of had Kevin, like, I don't know what I'm going to do next year. Like, and it don't matter, but it does matter because you're not the only person that has to answer that question. And to be quite frank with you, you're honestly the last person that has to answer the question because you don't really say shit. Like, you don't say much to the media. If anything, you tell them to shut the fuck up. Well, I don't tell them to shut the fuck up. I kind of have a conversation. And so I'm stuck answering that question all the time. And due to that, there was always an elephant in the room amongst us. As opposed to with them, they didn't have that elephant. Like Kevin.
All right, there you go. Thoughts?
Damn. I mean,
let him have it, man.
He's not wrong. When it comes down to it, everything that he said was very accurate. They had to take the brunt of it. KD, if that was actually said in the locker room, KD could have said, like, I know you're talking about me. Look, I don't know yet, or I do know I'm going to leave. It could have been handled a little bit better.
Let me stop you right there. You cannot come out and say you're leaving. That's where I disagree with Draymond.
Yeah.
If he had his mind set up that he was leaving the whole time, that's pretty unprecedented to have a player coming off a Finals MVP to come back the next year and say, hey, yeah, no, I'm not coming back. This is my last run with this team. We're going to try and win another championship, and then I'm ghost either way. You can't really do that. So I think what Draymond's saying is somewhat unfair. If KD knew he was leaving the whole time, then that's how you can't. There's no good way to handle that. And if he was unsure, that's kind of what he said. And if he was re-signing, he would have just re-signed. So KD, as much as I can't stand KD and the way he treats the media and his burner accounts on Twitter and all that, I do understand the predicament he's in because what is he supposed to say? Basically, you either need to re-sign with the Warriors so the other players aren't getting asked the questions, or you need to come out and say you're leaving, which you're going to lose the locker room either way. So or not either way, but if he went that route, he's losing the locker room. Otherwise, he's coming off disingenuous if he pulls a Kyrie and says, hey, I'm coming back, which honestly is the smart way to play, is say, I want to be here, I want to end my career as a Warrior, this franchise has done this and that, I won championships here, I want to end my career here. That's the way to play it, whether or not that's disingenuous, and then we could all call you a liar after the fact when you move on to Brooklyn. But in the meantime, that would have been probably, I would say, the way to play it. Do you guys agree or disagree with that?
I mean, I think that's obviously probably the best route, just PR wise. I mean, for like, if you don't have your decision made up, if you do have your decision made up, I think, we've all played sports. I mean, you want to go to the people on the team that you think, I'm not going to Festa Ezeli and being like, hey man, like I'm leaving next year, like just a heads up,
No
but
doubt.
like, I'm going to pull away the captains, the Clay, the Draymond, the Steph, even, Iggy at that time, to be like, hey boys, like you guys brought me in here, but I'm moving on after this year. Let's try to attack this year, blah, blah. So they know in the interviews, in the press conference, how to just be, just give the cookie cutters and be like, well, you have to ask him, and then he can beat around the bush all year and do whatever he wants to do. But like, I feel like if that's brought out, like the locker room is such a sensitive thing. If there's any kind of demise in a locker room, your team is ruined. I mean, we've seen that with Steelers. We've seen that with, so many different organizations that have this locker room fuss and just have these two players or these one, you know what I mean?
But John, you're literally asking KD to come out and pull players aside, like some of the captains of the team, some of the...
Yeah, I mean, they call this a brotherhood. I mean, NBA is supposed to be a tight-knit brotherhood. You guys are all friends. You guys all take vacations during the year. You guys all see each other during the All-Star break. You can't pull these dudes aside knowing that, like, hey, like this dude, like me and Steph are still good friends. I know when I leave for Brooklyn or when I leave for whatever team I still want him as a friend in my life. Like I feel like as a friend, you still owe that to him, borderline as a teammate.
But don't
to be like, hey.
But don't you think that disrupts kind of now in the back of my head, if I'm playing with you, I know you're leaving regardless at the end of the season. Every time I'm asked that, don't you think that puts undue pressure on those players to be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I know he's leaving.
I mean, at the same time, though, you're still playing the season. You're still allowed to play the season, and no matter what, you still got it. Like, guys, I feel like this gets really annoying. Guys forget to realize, yeah, it's a game you're playing, and this is a fun little... but this is still a business, no matter what.
No
and
doubt.
Everyone's out there to get their own, and they have to treat it as such. And for players out there, if you were to say, I think he should have just come out and said, hey, I'm going to be bouncing out next year. I probably don't want to be here. I'm not really sure, but I'm most likely leaving next year. And if people have a problem with that, that's just unprofessional. Like, yo, dog, we're in the middle of this season right now. We're playing this season. Right now, I'm with you. Take advantage of it. And for the people out there to say, like, oh, he's going to, you got to realize it. No matter what, this is still a business, and each one of you guys are an employee of the team you're working for right now. And if you can't like put that, oh, he's going to leave next year. People leave all the time from jobs and go to other jobs all the time. And just to say like that's going to tear you down. No, I can still win with you this year. Then hey, next year, do what you need to do, because I understand no matter what, this is a business, and I'm not going to take anything you do personally.
And we're seeing in sports more and more like the culture of the player is now his own entity, and they're doing what's best for themselves. And I feel like the players have accepted that is how it needs to be done, and they're okay with it. So I feel like if somebody said, look, guys, I feel like this is going to be the best for me moving to this city or going to this team. I'm like Derek said, I'm here to play this year with you guys, and I'm here to win a championship with this year with you guys, but I'm moving on after this. I feel like everyone should be okay if you approach it the right way instead of leaving it up in the air like I have no clue what's happening.
You know what? You guys have swung my opinion on this. I actually agree with you guys that you guys are giving them more credit to remain professional and act as professionals than to act off emotion. And you guys are right. If any one of you guys were like, hey, this is my last week doing TVP, I wouldn't be like, fuck you, dog. I'd be like, all right, cool. Like, I get it. Like, let's do the best shows we can. And, best of luck to you. We'll still be homies, So, yeah, you guys, I was doing it more from emotional standpoint and having to deal with that, having the knowledge that he's leaving regardless. But you guys are right. They are professionals.
Real quick, hot take right here. What if American professional sports adopted like the EuroLeague soccer and did loans?
Oh,
like you could, like KD could have never left OKC, but we just, they just loaned him to Golden State for a couple years, and then they get his, you know what I mean? Like
his contract back.
Would that be interesting to you guys? Would you guys watch baseball at that point?
I would watch anything at this point.
Seeing that,
yeah, I would.
That'd be weird.
It would be.
You know how good the A's would actually be if they loaned all their players instead of trading one and bringing them all back?
Think about how much less fallout companies would have to deal with as far as organizations. Like letting go of Mike Trout on the Angels. You know how much fallout they would have?
That's
But
part.
hey, we just loaned him for 2 years because we're really shitty, and we're gonna get some stuff in return, and we're gonna get some players, and when he comes back, we're gonna be good.
I think that. Go ahead, Derek, real quick.
I would say the only problem with the loan aspect right now, the reason why it works well in Europe is because there's, however many countries are there that many leagues that are in European
play for their original
guys. So they're playing for a completely different league. So it'd be like if Clay went to the Canadian basketball league or something. They loaned him there. They don't have to see him. But if you loan him to another team, you're going to have to play against that guy. And most teams don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's one way it would be a little bit sticky right there. And that's why it works so well in Europe. And they can do that as loan players. And I don't have to worry about playing against him if I.
Not to mention, I think the one sport that it really doesn't work in is basketball because it's such a player-driven league, right? So in football, baseball, those are so much more team sports. You could have a stud pitcher and still lose 100 games in a season. You can't have a fucking first team All NBA player and win 20 games. One player can oftentimes make enough difference in the NBA where that if you have one really, really, really great player, you could still be a fairly decent team. Where
with LeBron James.
Yeah, and to Derek's point again, if you were able to put a player on loan and send them to a different country, I think that works. But I just don't think it would work in American sports, particularly the NBA, where there's only 5 players on the court at a given time.
I just want to ban on the whole Draymond and KD thing.
Yeah.
Draymond has the right to feel the way he feels, but KD, you have to think about it. He's in a unique situation because of how great he is.
Yep.
You have every team in the NBA that if they had the opportunity or could make the opportunity, they would move heaven and earth to have him. So not only does he really have the situation of like, I could re-sign with them. Like, no, I could be anywhere. Because everybody wants me.
Any team I wanted to sign for, they would make room.
And that would be very irresponsible of him to not at least, do the whole LeBron thing and accept pitches from whoever he wants to and do all those different things.
And now that Derek and Brad made their arguments, I actually agree with them. If he came out and said, didn't even say I'm leaving, but just said, I just want to test the market and see what's out there, and I'll deal with that at the end of the season. I don't have plans of leaving. I don't have plans of staying. I'm just going to test the market and see. Okay, then that's immediately squashed. We can move on and we can play ball. He's answered the question. I do think, listening to your guys' arguments, you guys really have swayed me that if he had simply came out and just even said that much, that I'm just going to test the market and see what's available, then it's done, and now let's just hoop. The question's been answered. You're as a media member, there's no need to go for a week. You can ask Draymond, you could ask Steph, you could ask Clay, Kerr, all the guys involved with the Warriors. KD said he's going to test the market. How do you feel about that? Cool. They've now given their response. He could do what he wants to do, whatever. He's his own man. We're moving on. There's no more terrain to cover there.
Draymond comes across as the girl that's not down with being friends with benefits, but says she is. But the moment you start thinking about going someplace, she's like, no, I want the commitment now. I want you to put a ring on it. I want you to tell me I'm your girlfriend. I want you to, hey, you're going to be here forever. And Katie's like, nah, dude, I'm hot stuff right now. I'm willing to see what else is out there. You're not the only one for me.
That's fair.
Great take.
Yeah, no, that is a good take. Let's move on. We've been talking a lot of baseball on the show lately. More baseball than ever because there's nothing going on. So, Brad,
the best kind of baseball there is.
I know a bit about the story regarding the 2 guys who are suing Major League Baseball because as of right now, if you have season tickets or group tickets to games that have been postponed as of right now, they're not canceled, you are not getting your money back. They're just postponing your tickets for a future date. And 2 guys out of New York are suing Major League Baseball. Do I have at least the basic details of that down?
Yes, you do. And there's been a little bit throughout the whole entire league. These are the 2 that have actually gone through and formed a class action lawsuit in New York, suing Major League Baseball. Each individual club and ticket reseller. So they're kind of setting the stage up for all season ticket holders for every single team, which is the big thing. It wasn't just for the Yankees. or the Mets. It was for the whole entire league, which is the best part about it. And the most shocking that I'm surprised that the teams haven't got ahead of it and said, we're either going to refund you or roll it over to the next year if baseball doesn't happen.
I think even rolling it over to the next year is bullshit.
Yeah, you got to give the money back.
I'm paying money to
play.
see the team as it's constructed currently. I'm not paying to see next year's team. You know, so I do understand their gripe and go ahead.
I say that, like, my family's been season ticket holders since the beginning, so like for us it wouldn't be an issue. It's just we've already paid the tickets. If there is no season, just roll it over. Sure. We don't have to pay for next year.
Yeah, like, but let's think of it in this realm. What if something happens, God forbid, knock on wood right now, but God forbid something happens dramatically in your family setting. Like, you can't go to all those games now and you just washed all that money when you thought you were going to go the previous year because you had that time.
Agreed, and that comes down to the whole situation of you have to decide on what you get, but if they give the money back, then people can turn around and buy the tickets right away.
And let's take it a step further. We are in unprecedented times. If you are in a situation where you're a season ticket holder, I bought a group package to go to 8 games, 4 tickets for 8 games, and I did that based upon the fact that I had great job security. I've been at a place for 5 years. I'm making decent money. But due to this pandemic, now I'm out of work. And now I need that money. I need to feed my kids. And that, 10-game package at 4 tickets apiece can get me through a couple mortgage payments if I get that back. Granted, you would say, hey, maybe be more frugal with your money. But this is not something any of us could have seen coming. So it would be the nice thing for Major League Baseball, all Major League Baseball teams to get their money back. But we're dealing with this with a lot of ticket venues. Ticketmaster's doing the same thing. Where
above and everything.
I was supposed to be going to a concert this Saturday here in LA that has not even officially been postponed where there's another date yet. There's been no news on it, but we've also haven't been refunded any type of money. And it's just like, we'll wait and see. And Ticketmaster, granted, they have a business to run. And so if it's not canceled, they don't have to give your money back. It's just getting pushed back to a later date. But for people that were in a situation where they had the money, they had the disposable income at the time, they may not have it now. And that's where this whole thing gets sticky. You have businesses that need to make the money. You have people that could probably use the money back. And it's just like, what's going to give first? And it's a bad look for the MLB or Ticketmaster or any of these outlets to hang on to the money, but also understood.
Yeah. And I'm just saying that I'm surprised they haven't stepped ahead of this before this lawsuit even happened, like knowing that the season was going to be pushed back and that fans are going to get pissed, and even further, like knowing that the games were going to happen until May, you should have had a conversation with your season ticket holders. And I'm surprised it didn't happen. And of course it was going to come to this class action lawsuit. So we'll see where that goes from here on out. But
did you have something, Jordan?
I was just saying that, I think it's a smart move on their part. It's fucked up. Of course, it would be nice to give everybody their money back, but like you said, they have a business to run. Regardless of if you're the biggest organization in a major sport or the smallest organization, you still probably have enough fans to fill out your stadium. So if you are disgusted with me for not giving your money back for a April 16th game at Petco Park, cool, we'll replace you. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. You want to go with a new franchise? Great. You want to not be a baseball fan at all? Even better. But we're good. We have the heads and the bodies to fit in the pockets to fill you, for sure.
They're saying that now. We'll see what happens in a year when they're finally able to let fans back in the stadiums.
Maybe not so much in baseball, because baseball's dying a little bit, but the other major sports, for sure.
Well, I think they're going to be hurting as well. I think at the end of it all, you're going to see at least a 25% reduction in fans at every single venue, except in my thought is college sports, just because of the college students are just crazy when it comes to their football.
Yeah, we might not have college sports this year.
Yep, and when it comes back.
When it comes back, though, what does this mean for inflation of pricing and stuff like that? Is everything going to turn into a Warriors game now? Is the lower class middleman going to be cut out of going to football games and stuff like that because they can't afford, because all these corporations are trying to get their money back? I'm just looking right now on the World Economic Forum, and it's estimated almost 61 billion in global sports losses over this pandemic. 61 billion.
So far,
we waste a shit ton of money on sports, y'all.
Like
$61 billion we spend on sports.
That's not even 50% of like the net worth of global sports. Like global sports is almost $1 trillion business.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? But still, like almost 60. It's like 61.7%.
And you're saying
$61.7 billion.
And this is for the life of what they expect for the pandemic to last, or
this is for the 2020. This is for the estimated 2020 year. What they made.
That ain't nothing.
What?
61 million, and you're $1 trillion corporation.
61 billion.
Oh, okay.
With a B.
I thought you said million. Okay, yeah, 61
with
billion.
a B.
That hurts.
That literally hurts 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
Those extra 3 zeros come in handy, man.
Yeah. Dude, like that's a lot of like you can see why these sports teams or these sports franchises want to keep coming around and keep trying to get Korean sports team having mannequins in their audience, you know what I mean, trying to create some sort of fad or whatever, but it's bad all around. Like we're going to get back into sports and no one's going to want to go see live games because it's going to be $40 a hot dog. Like,
no, I agree. I mean,
$40 hot dog.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey man, it's hot dogs for free over here, man.
It's not gonna take for free.
Yeah, spoiler alert! It's not a Dodger dog from Derek.
I do think that's what I'm saying. I can see this both ways. I could see why these franchises want to hold on to the money until they know what the outcome is. Until they know, okay, we are definitely not playing with fans this season, or we're definitely canceling the season. I understand them wanting to hold on to the money. I also understand if I have spent my hard-earned money when I was making money, and again, this is one example. I'm not saying this is the norm, but if I had spent money on season tickets or whatever, tickets in general, when I had income, and now say I don't have the same income and I'm making significantly less, 50% of that income on unemployment, that money, especially if I got some of those packages or season tickets, can go a long way to helping me get through some of these bills and get through this hard time. So I can actually see both sides. So I don't really fault anyone here personally. So if we got anything else on that, I'd love to hear it. If not, let's move on.
Yeah, no new information on that either.
All right, cool. Brad, tell me what's going on with the Red Sox, because there's a lot of details in there that I have not heard yet, and I loved that John is dying over that.
So the Red Sox, they were part of the whole cheating scandal in the World Series of 2018, but they had not been punished yet. I mean, Cora was already kind of suspended for the 1 year,
anyway, you got me
along with a few officials.
Thanks,
but they finally got a lost pick in 2020. I believe that was a first-round pick, but also the weird thing about it is the replay official for their team. So each team has a replay official for their challenges. He was fired and suspended for the 2020 and the 2021 playoffs.
Thanks, Phil.
So that was the interesting tidbit to the Red Sox punishment. But again, if there's no 2020 season, that punishment doesn't happen except for the draft pick.
So that punishment doesn't roll over.
They said it's only for the 2020 year, which baffles me that the Astros are still going to have their not going to have their punishment in 2021, or the Red Sox if there is no season. So there really was no punishment at all for them, which is.
I'm truly surprised how we've all talked about the Astros scandal and a bit about the Red Sox. But in general, this to me is a way bigger scandal than steroids ever was, because at least steroids was rampant throughout Major League Baseball, and it wasn't an organizational wide deal. It was, rogue players. I mean, it's not like it was a secret. Coaching staffs, franchises oftentimes knew who was juicing, but they also knew, guess what? Every other Major League Baseball team has guys on this juice too. so it wasn't as big of a deal. In this case, you have two franchises that are absolutely cheating, and everyone else, more or less, is, I mean, everyone's bending the rules, but not going to the level that these franchises went. And Major League Baseball has done their best to sweep it under the rug, and god damn are they lucky that COVID-19 is happening. Obviously, not for their bottom line, but as far as their headlines, this would be a much bigger story plaguing this season. But being that this season isn't being played, at least right now, and may not have fans in attendance at all this season, this is great for the Astros and Red Sox. They're not going to have to deal with any of that type of heckling this season, most likely.
Dude, on the devil's advocate, though, I mean, I feel any bad press is good press in the baseball situation. Like, baseball, like we've all agreed, is dying. Like, it's a dying breed. To have a scandal like this, to be in the headlines every day at ESPN and sports news broadcasting, like, this is bad, yeah, for baseball. But, like, if MLB would get out front and actually penalize the Astros really heavy, like, this would be as big as steroids. This would be like a stamp on baseball history. So, like, it would bring, I feel like, in a sense, even though it's bad press, it would still bring people back to want to view, like, oh, the Astros are playing so-and-so. Like, I want to watch. You're going to
hate watch.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the drama. Everyone wants to see reality television for a reason, the drama. Yeah. Like, if you bring drama to sports, like, who's not going to want to see that? Like, rivalries are one thing, but when someone's a rival of every single team because they cheated them out of something they could have had, that makes for great television.
Agreed. And I would have loved to see if the Astros and Dodgers played each other this year. Just I would.
They did not.
They didn't.
They were not playing this year.
I would love if Major League Baseball was prudent and really wanted to pick up some viewership. Come back next year, opening series, Astros at Dodgers.
I mean, it's right across the way. You have Astros and the Anaheim Angels. I'm not going to call them the LA Angels, but the Anaheim Angels. They're right there. So you're going to have a lot of Dodgers fans that are going to be there cheering them on the whole entire way.
Yeah, but it's not the same as being in Dodger Stadium, though, where everyone there is a Dodger fan and everyone there is on one hell-bent idea, and that is to make the Astro players feel like complete shit.
And everyone there potentially could stab you.
Yeah, dude, I would say, man, you go into Dodger Stadium, you might not come out, and I'm all for that. I want the Astros to come in there. I want them to feel the brunt of LA's wrath, because when we get mad at you, we'll put you in a coma.
Yikes. Man. A Brian Stowe shot, wow.
Yep.
Which comes even heavier looking like a convict, dude.
You do have a convict shirt on right now.
Orange, baby.
What's funny is when Derek doesn't talk, it's just that small square on this Google Hangout, so it just looks like a barcode of numbers. Like,
I dig it. Anything else on this topic, or shall we move on?
After the Red Sox got off easy, man.
They did.
Both of them got off easy, and I feel like the worst part about it is the commissioner himself said that he's not going to take it away because it's just a piece of metal, which really tarnishes baseball in and of itself. Like, you're already having an issue with fans, and then you're just going to say that your biggest prize is just a piece of metal.
Manfred's the worst.
Like, this commissioner is awful.
But also,
any professional sport.
What?
Hey, give me Vince McMahon. That's who I want.
Fuck yeah, I'll take that. At least he has some branding.
Vince McMahon is the spin doctor.
You know, he finds some ways to make MLB. He'd probably listen to us and take all our ideas we said to make MLB better. In particular, my idea of every single time you come out of the dugout for a fight, you better be swinging.
He'd hire you as his personal advisor, Derek.
I think, you know what? He should. That would be the smart business move to do.
John, you're muted again for some reason. Brad, because I think baseball could benefit from some of the rules they're proposing. Do you remember offhand some of the rules they were proposing if they did come back? Besides the playing in the Greater Phoenix area and all that. Just, it was 7-inning back-to-backs.
So it'd be they would have 9-inning games for sure, but if they have doubleheaders, which they would do more often, they would have 2 7-inning games. They would have less mound meetings and less meetings with the coaches and whatnot, just to speed things up. And yeah, they would also have electronic umpires. So they've already tested that out in the minor leagues. It's worked damn near perfectly.
Yeah, they should
It's
get
just
rid of
people don't
umpires
want it.
in general. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so you'd just be getting rid of, you'd be getting rid of the umpire behind the
Behind
plate.
the plate,
You'd still have the umpires on the field, but the strike zone, you'd have an electronic umpire for that, and that's about it. I mean, you'd be changing quite a bit, but enough to make it sustainable.
Let's do the magic at bat in the 9th inning. You could totally change your lineup if you want, and bring someone. So say you bat first, or you bat leadoff, right?
Yeah.
And in the 9th inning, your cleanup hitter's coming in. Well, you could go ahead and bring in your leadoff hitter if you want. I'm into that. Also, home run derbies after inning games that go beyond 11 innings. I'm into that. Also, bigger. I want trampolines on the warning track.
Yes.
You're welcome, baseball. Those were all free, by the way. So, holler at me, Rob Manfred. I can make your job easier. And you want to appeal to these kids? I got you, bro. That's how we do it. Well, actually, John's got you. Look at that mustache. He knows what kids are into.
Yeah, it's this thing called TikTok. Trying to get into it right now. Apparently, I don't know. It's like an Altoid.
You say
or something.
TikTok? What?
It's TikTok. Apparently, it's like an Altoid or something. I don't know. It's
Where
fresh
all
with
the
the breath.
underage-year-olds are at? Yeah, those guys.
All right.
I haven't jumped on TikTok yet. Haven't. Won't. Can't. Pray to God I won't. I probably will next week. I'll see you there, guys.
We'll see how long quarantine goes.
I love how you work through that on your own right there without anyone saying anything.
I would honestly pay you cash money to see you do a TikTok dance.
All right, let me see it first, then we'll start talking.
I will start a GoFundMe to get you to do a TikTok dance and see what we can get.
I will donate 20 to that fund.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm almost getting desperate enough right now. I think that's going to be my OnlyFans account right now is a TikTok dance.
Oh, my God.
I will be performing in the nude as well, so, nice little tidbit.
Also,
Gross.
I'm gonna isolate some people here, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Women complaining about equal pay. Y'all got OnlyFans.com, so I feel like we're pretty equal now. I can't do that. No one's interested.
I've kind of come to the realization, I had a thought the other day, that essentially sports is pretty much guys' way of prostituting themselves out there.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the way, They put their bodies and skills on display for us to entertain us. We pay money to see them perform. Not much more different than a prostitute herself, So,
I mean, that's
there are, but they're not as prevalent.
That is super weird because Jordan asked me to go shoot hoops earlier today, and I don't know if he's trying to get me to pay him money or
for a good time. What? You're not getting paid for it though. That's just it. I'm just saying, professional athletes are essentially another form of prostitution, male or female, either or. It's just the guys get paid better in that form of prostitution versus females get paid in the, dick in the whatever hole.
I don't know.
Where have we come from, dude?
What?
Where have I come from?
How did we get here? How did we get here? It's how I know.
The isolation is really getting you, isn't it, Derek? Feel a little bit more now.
I have a lot of time to myself.
We took that.
I have a lot of time to myself, so I can, a lot of thinking happens.
Yeah, I get that. If Jarreau wasn't down there and just confirmation of seeing you, I would think that your parents and family are dead and you're just living at that house with 14 Crazy person, dude.
Just jacked up in here. I know I got bodies right in the
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it has entered my brain. Like, you think Derek's by himself?
I can verify that as of 4 hours ago, Derek's dad was alive and well and speaking. So,
but that was 4 hours ago.
Granted, I did not see his mom. So, and I'm pretty sure we're all on quarantine right now. So I don't know what errand she might have been running, but she was not there.
Yeah, she was dinner last night.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Cannibalism. Yeah.
Oh, that's not worth.
I'm surprised you haven't heard any stories like that happening yet. Like we've all been quarantined for a while. No cannibalistic stories right now. Got to be thankful, y'all. Thank God we haven't gone that far yet.
The term quarantine, though, like we can all go out our house anytime we fucking want. Like,
we're not in a strict quarantine. We're in like a recommended. Hey, don't hang out.
Yeah,
with
but Jordan, you and I being both up and ready, and like it's a little bit lax up here. Like you go to, even to Sacramento or to the Bay Area. Like there's certain areas that won't even let you inside without a mask on.
Yeah, I told you guys. I saw signs out there that said "No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service."
Yeah, that's how it is down here in LA. If you go anywhere, you need to wear a mask inside. So,
I mean, Drew can attest to it though. Like LA, for the most part, like we're driving around, it kind of seems business as usual for the most part. There's not like empty streets everywhere. Like I saw some of those eerie photos from San Francisco and whatnot. I mean, there's certain areas that for sure are a lot less traffic and whatnot, but for the most part, we're all still out there.
Yeah, considerably less people, but I mean, yeah, it's not like you're driving on an empty freeway and there's 3 cars on the 5 north. Like it's definitely you're still maneuvering through people the whole way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not quite business as usual, but your point is well taken. It's still there's a lot of people moving and grooving, and Hollywood. We drove through Hollywood today. And there's a lot of people out just walking around.
Oh, yeah.
And the most ripped black dude I've seen since T.O. just selling masks for $5. I get it, though.
$5?
Yeah, if you need a mask.
Ow.
Hey,
Also,
supply and demand, my brother. Supply and demand. All right, well, let's wrap this up, shall we? Let's do a cheers to and get the fuck out of here. I got to go to bed at a reasonable hour tonight. I suck to edit this. Does someone want to volunteer to start a cheers to? Excellent.
Great job, y'all.
Good.
All right, here we go. I got my cheers too. Actually, I don't have my cheers to.
Brad, do you have a cheers to?
I don't have a cheers, man.
Oh, Brad.
Right, here we go. I gotta go. Cheers to my liquor stores that are giving me the cheap bourbon right now. That are giving the good bourbon on a decent price right now. That I don't have to go or spend exorbitant amounts of money on a decent bottle of whiskey right now. So cheers to them who realize I need my bourbon and I don't want to pay that much for it. Cheers.
Cheers. Jordan, you got one?
Yeah. Cheers to the good old freeway, to the 5 South. Cheers to the 5 South, man. Getting me from Reading to work on time consistently. 2-lane highway. It's a 2-lane highway. There's been hella people getting pulled over and shit, but you know what? I have fortunately been out of that number. So cheers to the 5 South.
Cheers.
All right, cheers. Cheers to everyone maintaining and doing some, creative stuff during their quarantine and not losing their fucking mind and sharing it on Instagram. Cheers to you guys.
Mm. You know what? I got one.
You know what?
Speaking of that, cheers to Calvin Black. Like
All
him
right.
putting out his new song. Good for him. It sounds great. Love it. Check it out.
Cheers.
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 All right, John, take us home, baby.
I'm gonna bring up the caboose here. I'm gonna cheers to Jordan's cheers because that shit was bullshit. Cheers to the 5 South Freeway. What are you talking about, dude?
Not the north. Fuck the north. The 5 South. That's the one I'm talking about.
That's the first time a black man I've ever heard say anything good about the South. Jesus, Jordan.
If there are cheers here, if there are actual cheers here, can this guy get the fuck off the screen? Because there's no jokes here.
I was cheersing to you, Jordan. I was cheersing to you.
Hey, as you should, man. As you should.
All right, boys. Well, I will catch up with you guys Friday. I'm driving back to Chico tomorrow. Let's go golfing next week and get it in.
Let's do it.
If we could figure out a way to do a Sunday where we can all golf, and then
wait, did I tell you guys what the deal they're doing right now?
Yeah, the $15 golf all day.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say, man, I'm going to be up there on Saturday night, I'm thinking. So,
if
I
we
say
Sunday.
if we
Sunday,
can, yeah, let's go golfing Sunday. But if we could figure out in the next week or two a Sunday where we could all link up to golf and then watch the Jordan doc after, that would be fire. And we could do the podcast as one as opposed to like all 5 of us being in different locations. Would be dope. So let's brainstorm on that. We'll figure something out. But we definitely need to golf. I miss golfing. I just miss hanging out with you guys and drinking beers.
Also, not this Friday. I thought it was gonna be this Friday, but next Wednesday, my boy Max wants to come on.
Next Wednesday?
Sure. Next Wednesday, yeah.
Okay, Phil from Chico wants to come on this Friday, so.
Perfect.
We got some people. I know Calvin hit me and was like, yo, when we doing the pod again? And I told him tonight he couldn't make it tonight, but he wants to come back on soon too, so.
he's a good guest to have, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he flows very well with what we're doing, so. Yeah. All right, boys. Well, I will. I'm gonna eat some food. I'm gonna send this over to you, D, and then I will hopefully see all
boys.
your faces in person and not virtually in the next week or two.
Boys, love you.
All right, fellas.
Hey.
Y'all take care.
Good.
Peace. Wow, that went way long. Yeah, I've been on with them since 7:30.
I know. I was like, well, usually try to find gauge for food. And like,
Usually, I'm sorry.
I don't care. I was just like concerned.
Concerned. What's the date I have it actually? April 22nd. 2025. Yeah, it was so terrible. So terrible. Oh my god, it was so bad. Yeah, hopefully. I'm sure it will. I know, I noticed. Thank you. Well, I could take a whole quarter tonight. I have all night to sleep it off. I'll be fine. It's not too late. Hey. Gucci, you walk with a real big switch. Did you ever notice that? Like, that ass just shakes, bro. Have you noticed that? She does. You're super excited to eat food that you're not doing. Are you hungry, baby? Nothing has come to me. Give me one.
I can't give it to you.
Well, give me a saying that I say, and maybe it'll help me start brainstorming.
You said you're gonna want coffee in the morning, correct?
Yeah, I'm down.
You can have another beer. Would you like it?
No, I'm okay right now. I'm chilling. Oh, thanks. I would have thrown that away. You painted your nails today? Your toes?
Mm-hmm.
I needed some shit with some bathroom in it.
For like the last few years, I used to do like all glitter and like fun stuff on my toes. The last like 3 years in a row, it's been like 6 months black, 6 months white. Like spring, summer, white. Fall, winter, black. This year I went with like a few weeks in between of gray. Felt a little crazy.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Oh, another bowl.
Oh, it's not a lot, but we'll make it work.
I have the weed from earlier today.
That's where I got that. Wasn't that all of it?
Oh, yeah, it was all of it. Oh. Alright. You eat. You showered.
You just showered, baby.
I said I already showered.
Oh.
I just packed my shit.
Excuse me, ma'am. What are you doing? At least you don't have to like think about what to pack like usual.
Facts. I don't think it'll take me that long, honestly.
I mean, you're pretty packed.
Yeah. Thing.
Are you sure that's what you want?
Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I just can't find. True. It was on Uninterrupted's page. Oh yeah, here.
About we talking about practice.
And I'll cut out the commercials.
Word.
Alright, let's do it. Alright, let's do it.
We talking about practice. Not a game.